Ladies, gentlemen, and Harajam of all ages, it's been quite the busy week for Diablo 4, with Gamescom going on over in Germany, and while the developers took to the main stage in the opening ceremony to announce a couple of new major endgame activities, as well as share the trailer for the new mercenary system, showing off the stories of the different NPCs that we'll be able to take in as followers. There has also been a lot going on in the days since then as well, with loads of interviews being done by a bunch of different people giving us new information about Season 6, as well as just things happening in relation to the current active live game as well, such as a hotfix that did just recently addressing a couple of the more major issues that have been going on in Season 5, so let's just break down everything going on recently that you may have missed in relation to this game so that we can just all get caught up. First things first, let's start with the official stuff, which means the game changes and hotfixes. The first main thing that I want to call out that many people have noticed, but other people have not, in the last client patch they actually added in 4 new armor die options: Sunset, Fireglass, Coral, and Bone. Past that, there was a hotfix a couple of days back, and the main things that this fixed were actually the unbelievably high damage that the Desecrator enemy was doing in Infernal Hordes, which was an agreed upon, vastly overtuned enemy in the whole community, and then also the Beast and Ice boss, which was just doing way more damage than any of the other ladder bosses in a similar position, especially its Torment version. This also reduced the damage of Hellborn too, but I hadn't personally noticed that issue anywhere close to as much as the other two, but still, I'm glad that all of this has been fixed up. Past that, we have an ongoing endgame event happening right now, if you're watching this soon after it releases at least, for those who are unaware. The March of the Goblins is back, and essentially it just beefs up the treasure goblin spawn rate a ridiculous amount. It makes a bunch of them spawn in at different places, and while this was alright the last time that it happened, treasure goblins have since then been massively buffed, now dropping far more useful gear in general, as well as much more gear too, but also dropping ladder boss summoning materials plentifully. And with Stygian stones now being relatively plentiful as an endgame material, the real bottleneck for doing torment versions of the ladder bosses is the base materials that you can now get from these goblins. So this event is essentially, if nothing else, just a really great opportunity to farm up to let you do more torment bosses. And that means that it will help you get any of the mythic uniques that you have been hunting for this season, but unable to find so far. So make sure that you take advantage of that while it's around, if that sounds like something that you're interested in doing. Then moving on, we have some tweets directly from Rod Ferguson, the general manager of all things Diablo. First, the Armory feature seems to be returning seemingly during Season 6, but not quite at the expansion's launch, but hopefully does a little bit soon after, being the phrasing used. This system is essentially like the wardrobe that lets you save cosmetic loadouts to change in between that we have in this game, but for builds, for equipment, for skill points, and for your Paragon board setup entirely. This is a system that we have all wanted and asked for since launch, really. It would make the game way more friendly to the concept of switching between builds, to being able to even use multiple builds to begin with, because right now it is just a really big pain to switch back and forth repeatedly between multiple builds. It's expensive, it's a time sink, and it's just much more of a hassle than it needs to be. So this honestly is just great to hear. Our next tweet from Rod then confirmed that we will be getting more character slots with the release of the Vessel of Hatred expansion. So for anyone tired of deleting characters each season to make some space, this will give you at least a little bit more room to work with, though I wouldn't expect it to expand a massive amount anyways. Then the final and probably most important tweet from Rod worth talking about here, someone asked when we are getting World Tier 5, as in a tier above World Tier 4 in difficulty and reward, which is the current highest tier. Rod's response was actually perfectly cryptic but very intriguing, saying that he couldn't answer this question directly, but highly recommends watching the developer stream that is happening tomorrow about Progression 2.0. This is the term being used to talk about the major systemic changes that will be happening for Season 6. In Season 4, they redid itemization. In Season 5, they rebuilt the uniques entirely from the ground up, and in Season 6, they are looking to completely reshuffle progression as a whole. This upcoming stream then will give us a good idea of what is being done in regards to that, so that's quite a bit to look forward to, and of course, we will cover any news that drops in that stream here on the channel right after it ends as well. Finally then, just a few important but brief things that I want to rattle off but still cover that have been confirmed through various interviews over the last week. As opposed to speculation from various creators, there will actually not be an infinite Paragon point system coming to the game anytime soon, like the one that exists in Diablo 3. Though there will be a hefty rework to the concept of Paragon just in general, Paragon glyphs, the Paragon boards, the nodes on the boards, all of this as part of Progression 2.0 as a systemic change. As well, a loot filter is on the list of things that the the developers are looking to add to the game at some point, but is currently behind the Armory feature in priority order for the devs, which gives us a sort of relative timeline of it probably being closer to Season 7 than Season 6 if I had to guess. Past that, one other new mechanic that will be added to the game when the expansion releases on October 8th is the Favorite a Town system. This lets you choose to mark any waypoint as your favorite, and then your town teleport hotkey that we've always had will always bring you to that waypoint from that point on, unless you change it again, of course, rather than just bringing you to the closest major town in proximity to you, which is fantastic as some of the towns are just more efficient than others for actually interacting with NPCs. Some people just like the aesthetic of certain areas more. It doesn't really matter why, it's just a solid convenience feature no matter who you are. Nothing more, nothing less. That just about does it for today then, everyone. Just a nice pile of news and reveals, changes to Diablo 4, and just things to do in the coming weeks, both things that are active right now currently in game, like the event with the treasure goblins, or also just some inkling of what we'll be doing once the expansion itself releases on October 8th. I hope you've enjoyed this then, and personally I'm just looking forward to seeing how this stream for the PTR of Season 6 shakes out. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.